Lee was taught martial arts by Yip Man, a grandmaster of the martial art of Wing Chun. When asked about his co-star's abilities, actor Van Williams reportedly described Lee as faster than a speeding bullet, a popular comic book superhero phrase. Bruce Lee fights Bob Wall in a scene from 1973's Enter the Dragon. The movie was a joint production between U.S. studio Warner Brothers and Hong Kong studio Golden Harvest, and it garnered Lee international attention. Lee's moves were reportedly so fast that he was forced to shoot them in slow motion so that the camera could clearly capture them. Bruce Lee with his mother and son, Brandon. His son would later grow up to become an actor just like his father, and also like his father, would die young. Bruce Lee's iconic roles paved the way for other Asian action stars to command leading roles in Hollywood, like Jackie Chan and Jet Li. Lee with his Green Hornet co-stars Van Williams and Wendy Wagner. Williams and Lee reportedly developed a close friendship off the set of Green Hornet. Lee began his American acting career after he was spotted at a martial arts tournament in Long Beach, California by celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, who was friends with Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski. Lee during the filming of the TV series Longstreet. His "Be Like Water" quote from the series remains one of his most memorable lines to date. Bruce Lee and co-star Marilyn Bautista in a scene from Fist of Fury. Lee's Hollywood roles built him a loyal fanbase in Hong Kong. The truth is Lee was a formidable opponent with a chiseled physique and technique, Chuck Norris once said of the martial artist. While the martial artist understood that he needed to incorporate flashier moves in his fighting scenes to appease Hollywood executives, his daughter has alleged that there was always a line he wasn't willing to cross in order to maintain realism. The series marked the first time that Kung Fu had been seen in the West, outside the movie theaters of the Chinatown districts, and younger viewers were astonished by what they saw, wrote actor Bruce Thomas of Green Hornet. Bruce Lee with his wife Linda and their 2 children, Brandon and Shannon. My father was up against a difficult system that was not willing to put money behind an Asian as a lead in any way, and not willing to create authentic Asian characters, Shannon Lee said. Lee in front of Ruby Chow's restaurant in Seattle, where he was a live-in waiter during his college years. Bruce Lee was featured in more than 20 films during his childhood in Hong Kong. Bruce Lee and some of his students at the Jun Fan Kung Fu Institute he owned. Pro basketball player and later co-star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can be seen in the back. After the Green Hornet ended, Lee landed a few other supporting roles. But it proved difficult for him to find roles that depicted fully formed Chinese or Asian characters that weren't racialized stereotypes. Bruce Lee played a Chinese immigrant in the 1969 Hollywood comedy/western Here Come the Brides. Bruce Lee and Maria E. in a scene from Fist of Fury. Lee headed to Hong Kong in 1971 after he was unable to land more substantial roles in Hollywood. Bruce Lee tosses a man in a fight scene from his 1972 action flick Fist of Fury. He didn't love the Chinese kung fu flicks, in the 1960s, where people were flying through the air and sort of having all these magical superhuman qualities. These films didn't really represent what he understood to be martial arts, Shannon Lee said. Another intense fight scene of Bruce Lee from Fist of Fury. Bruce Lee's first leading role in Hong Kong was the 1971 film The Big Boss, which was followed by Fist of Fury in 1972 and The Way of the Dragon. All these films were commercial successes in countries across Asia. Bruce Lee wields a pair of nunchucks during his final film Enter the Dragon. The movie was the first kung fu film to be produced by a major Hollywood studio. American martial artist Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee on the set of his movie Meng Long Gu Jian or The Way of the Dragon. Lee fights his former student Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in an iconic scene from the film Game of Death. It was released 5 years after Lee's death using leftover footage from Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee was frustrated after reading the original script for Enter the Dragon and rewrote it to include some of the most iconic scenes from the film. American studio executives ignored Lee's rewrites to Enter the Dragon at first but relented after the actor refused to shoot the film without his edits. Bruce Lee with his son, Brandon Lee, who found success as an actor like his father through the series The Crow, 20 years after his father's untimely death. Lee's real-life martial arts ideals were about discipline and the philosophical teachings of Jeet Kune Do, an expression of martial arts that was personal to him. Bruce Lee with producer Fred Weintraub on the set of the 1973 film Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee's signature yellow jumpsuit from Game of Death, which became synonymous with his on-screen legacy. The wardrobe department produced 2 tracksuits to choose from, one yellow and one that was black, said film producer Andre Morgan said. They went with the yellow suit so the footprint on the outfit would be more visible. The 1970s TV series Kung Fu starring David Carradine was reportedly based on a rejected script that Lee had pitched to studios. Bruce Lee developed his own form of Kung Fu known as Jeet Kune Do, which means, way of the intercepting fist. I don't think anyone looked at Asians as full humans that come in every variety under the sun, just like everybody else, because there was no representation of that, Shannon Lee said. Lee's Enter the Dragon remains one of his most memorable roles to date.